I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Elginak Community Schools Board of Education on Monday, March 20th, 7 p.m. Please rise for Pledge of Allegiance and moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
William Brady?
Here.
Phil Clark?
Here.
John Highstreet?
Here.
Andy Goulet?
Here.
Nicole Emery? Here. Jennifer Baker here, and Janice Pasco? Here. We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. No recognitions and presentations tonight, so consent agenda items. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Before we do that, after reading Mrs. Boldenbogen's letter, can I get some clarification on her resignation for, seemed like her unwillingness to get proper information to do her curriculum job, you know?
She's changing fields and teaching there probably.
Right, but it sounded like the reason that she chose that was because she didn't feel supported here. So can we get a little bit of background on that?
And I can share that with you. I got the same information that you got too, but I also did a little more digging to find out some of that, which I'd gladly share with you guys. I kind of planned on putting it out to you a little bit tomorrow, what I've kind of gathered. Obviously, anytime you get a letter like that, it's something that we look into, and I want to make sure that I got all the facts straight. And so, but I'd be more than happy to put that out to you guys, get you guys some clarification on that.
Yeah, this was a little sad and disturbing, so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the math curriculum has been a concern since back in, I believe it was November, December, and I went to you about it. And I know that things were happening with Ryan and Melissa, and then all of a sudden, there was nothing for a while. And then from what I heard from her again was that nobody ever actually circled back, like it kind of fell flat. And if I'm wrong, then correct me, but, and that the new curriculum wasn't gonna come until June or July.
No,
So-
they turned back on the original, so the version they have isn't something that they're supporting anymore, so they turned it back on for the remainder of this year. And we talked about the fact we would have to choose to upgrade or choose a different curriculum before the start.
Next year, for
Right.
next year.
And then that just kind of left her with nothing.
She has her current books and the online.
Right, but her concern was that she didn't have the support to implement the curriculum that she had, and that she didn't have the time or help to get comfortable with what she was supposed to be teaching, and then she had no way to reference back if she had questions. She did not feel supported. It's even in her letter, and she's even told me the same thing. I couldn't believe that she's been here for 3 years, 2 years, and this whole time she's felt helpless. She felt like nobody had her back. And she's a brand new young girl. She's from this town. Everybody talks about the muskrats. She's a muskrat. And I just feel like the ball was dropped.
So you're getting more information for us, Adam?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I want to tag on to that. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
I applaud you for saying that, because I see it more too than just, the curriculum, where it's also the feeling safe,
Yes.
the idea of, and I've talked before about this, even as a teacher, is when somebody comes in subs, where that for a sub, they feel safe, that they feel that they're being backed. And a lot of times I don't see that happening.
No, in this class in particular, it was co-taught, and the guy originally, he moved on, and she's with these other kids. She's got advanced kids, and then the kids who needed the co-teacher, and so she's handling both of these, plus she's unsure of what she's supposed to be teaching. I mean, it was set up for failure. she had no, it's like she's drowning and she didn't have time, or she didn't feel comfortable, or whatever the reason was. That's something that should be embraced and she should be taken care of, because she would have been a lifer here. Doesn't matter how much you would have paid her. She didn't need the money.
And if I could add something too, reading this and not knowing her, okay, and what I came about is a few points on this letter that was a concern. One was, again, the safety issues in the classroom, the safety issues of what happened here at the school. That was a concern. I'm learning, I don't know a lot about the programs we have implemented here, and I'll talk to Al more about it. You know, do we have any ALIS? Do we have an active shooters training program? Are we using it like we're supposed to use it? Are we drilling? These are the things that I don't know, but I was concerned when I read this, so it seemed like she was concerned. Another concern I had about it was, again, the communication between administration and the communication between the teachers. I don't, you know, again, if that can be improved or that was an issue in here and she felt that way, how many more teachers among all the other schools are feeling the same way? There are a few, because I've spoke to a few over my years, even before I before I even come to the board. As simple as maybe having an administrative meeting with everybody and just putting out those concerns might be a way to you know, rectify what happened here. Another issue that was that, yeah, she felt unsafe. Well, sometimes when people feel unsafe, they develop a little PTSD, you know, PTSD. Did we offer her someone to talk to? I mean, that there alone is something that maybe we, in coming up now in the future, that we want to look at. The situation that happened out there, hey, I'm coming from a background, and you all know, good martial art background, okay, for years. And it's just not karate. It has a lot to do with safety. It has a lot to do with what's going on here. What happened in that parking lot, we cannot, what she put in here, we can't take it lightly. Because, sure, we might have had it under control, and our officers might have had it under control, but next time, it might not be under control. If our schools are not locked down and our children are outside, or one of the schools is locked down and the other one's not, who's to say what's gonna happen next time? So maybe this is an awakening for us to look at that situation, that safety issue, to make sure that all our safety plans are in place. I mean, those are the things that, again, I don't know her. I've heard of the name, and my kids know her. You know, but this is what I came on. You know, if these are the points she's making, then maybe we really need to look into this and look
Well, and
into
this is her side of the story. It's her letter to do an explanation.
Correct.
Al says he's gathering more information so that we have the complete picture. If there's more, or if there's not, whatever it's going to be, that's what's gonna happen. So before we get all wound up about having concerns and whatever, I'd like to hear the rest of the story. You know, I mean, maybe it's just me, but I don't think so.
I would too.
Well, it would also be nice to have the information before board meetings, before
Yeah,
we.
I had a board member come and see me today that I had a good conversation about that with, because I thought that was a good way to do it, but, I mean, I certainly will share that information with you.
Communicating with one person as opposed to, we all got the letter.
We all could have called. One person did. I didn't call. I'll tell you that right now. I read it. I said, hey, the more will come out, and I'll hear about it, and I'll make my choices based on all of it. That's kind of like how things are supposed to work.
So you don't acknowledge it unless you're told about it? That's kind of what I feel like. I mean, I'm not trying to be combative, but that's the other side of it.
Well,
I mean,
Well, I was the one who called Al, because I felt there's another side. I want to hear both sides before, you know, before I
Let's hear the
dive
whole
deep into
story.
it, so. stuff together and was going to email it to us.
I think the key is that it's gonna be addressed.
Absolutely.
Yep.
That's, you
It'll
know,
be addressed.
but, yeah, and it has to be. I didn't wanna see this just go, okay, hey, she wrote a letter, let's just move on. It can't be, she wrote a letter, it needs to be.
And you know what, guys, I'll be honest with you, if that's what you think you're getting from me, then please let me know, but I don't think I've ever handled, when as a teacher, administrator, or superintendent, I've never handled a situation like that where I get something and say, okay, that's good enough, move on, especially something like this. So I think you guys should know that better, and you guys should understand that about me.
No,
And
there's
if
always-
not, then
No, there's
I'm
always
probably the
three
wrong
sides.
person to be sitting here with you.
No, there,
I mean, I wouldn't accept that as a school board member, but from the same regard, I've been in the business long enough to know that there are two sides of a story. And so we better make sure we have all the facts as far as I'm concerned. And, you know, this involves another employee that we should be looking to protect as well. We want to protect employees. Well, if there's an employee that certainly should have his, you know, time to respond in his kind of, you know, side of the story. And I think we need to acknowledge that as well. That's
Yeah.
my feeling on it.
So you'll share feedback as soon as
Absolutely.
you have it.
who's filling in her spot until there's a replacement, or did you already have a replacement, or?
No, we
subs?
got, Mr. Cook, who was a longtime math teacher, is gonna fill in for the
Okay, that's right.
remainder of the school year, so. Yep.
I'll make a motion, the Board of Education approves all consent agenda items, including agenda minutes, personnel items, treasurer report, and bills listed items A through C.
Support?
Moved and supported. Any other comments or questions? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Information items. First up is Board Member Pasco's concern that she would like to raise.
So in January, we had, every year we get, well, not every year, but for a few years, we've gotten some books dedicated to the Algonac Community Schools Board of Education. They're usually just placed in front of us, and then they get dispensed to the classrooms, okay? So I had a book that was in front of me, and I just usually kind of flip through it, and as I was flipping through it, I noticed some of the language in the book, and I'm not comfortable with it, and I just don't believe that it's something that should have school board verbiage on it. I'm just gonna I passed out what I had gathered, and some of it is the excerpts from the book. It's just taken from I was able to find samples from a YouTube channel, taken from Storytime with Git. It was categorized Christian. The book's titled I'm So Glad You Were Born, Celebrating Who You Are by Ainsley Earhart. And I'm just gonna read what I have because it's quick. The school board received this book, among others, at January's board meeting. Inside the book is a sticker reading dedicated to the Algonac Community Schools Board of Education. I suggest in your request that the school board respectfully decline this dedication and ask that the sticker be removed from the book before being presented to the classrooms for reading. I further request that this book not be read as a class book, meaning not read in front of the whole class. Excerpts include, when you first arrived here so tiny and new, the world jumped for joy at God's big plans for you. God made you spectacular, one of a kind, creatively crafted, divinely designed. There's 6 or so other lines with the same kind of God reference and being designed by God and carrying God's plan. The description on the page is that the book focuses on how important it is for children and parents to know their meaning of life. We are born for a purpose, and God has a plan for each of us. With colorful celebrations, let's find out how we can celebrate that. So my concerns for that is that, number one, our role of the school board is to advocate for all the students. And while the board itself is not dedicating the book, having the board dedicated sticker opens ambiguous implications. It can be open for interpretation. It can be skewed and put out in any old way that, perhaps the board is promoting, one religion over another or teaching of a religion. secondly, deciding to allow the book to be displayed as a dedication to the school board allows for any book to be dedicated to the school board. We do not want to allow for children or our board to be used as pawns for any political or religious motivations or platforms. And I'm not saying that's what's happening. What I'm saying is that it can be happening in the future. If we allow it now, it opens up the door. The school board is both nonpartisan as well as secular.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What part about God that you're against?
That has nothing to do with it.
Well, it does, because it's, every reference you used was because God was there.
Right.
So there's something about God that you feel these kids shouldn't have.
It's not for every child.
I feel, well, if we look, in being a history teacher, and you knew probably was, anybody's feathers would be a little bit,
Mhm.
being a minister,
Yeah.
it would be, and again, I respect your opinion on this, but I also know that the whole foundation of this country is based on God. It's based on Christian morals. This has nothing to do with saying go to this church or that church. This is, I truly believe this, that our children are our future. They are the body of our future. And I believe God is the heart of that. And if you pull that out, you pulled out the morals, you pulled out a lot of things that this is all positive. I don't know how anybody could take this negatively, that you are wonderfully made, that you have a purpose. And, you know, we just said God in the Pledge of Allegiance. I mean, this is who we are. And I think this is what we need to stand for in this country. If you look throughout our history, this is part of it. I don't see where it's teaching doctrine. It's teaching that there's a God. I think in Elginak, if you want to just go ahead, I think a huge majority would back that up. But I think this is a positive thing, and I got the book here with the dedication in it. I feel the dedication should stay in there. I think it's something that's very, very positive. The school board said, yeah, we support this, is what we should, is, I think, not just on the school board, but as Americans, as being here, is that, yeah, this is a very positive thing that we need, because we've been trying to pull the morals out, let anything flow. This kind of just tells them a little bit, being positive about who they are. So I see nothing, absolutely nothing wrong with this book at all. And I'm proud that it's sponsored by the school board. I mean, that's,
If I can chime in a little bit is, first, I do think it's good that we're talking through it, because there were concerns that had been raised and multiple kind of back and forth, and this is a board topic, right? So it's something we have to decide it together. It was dedicated to the board as a whole. So I think it's good that it's getting dialogued. I will share that as this was raised earlier, we checked in with like Jean to try and get some feedback and things like that too, where it's dedicated on behalf of the board. It's not the board's dedicating it, things like that, right? So I'm kind of the mind that I don't know that it is something that we really debate even, right? Whether we do or don't, it was dedicated on our behalf, right? Now, and I think you raised questions about being used as a, for other purposes down the road and things like that. And maybe we do consider, do we allow books to be dedicated to the board down the road or not? I don't know, but
I don't think
I'm
it's that
supportive of it.
complicated. I think the group of folks that bought this pile of books to give to us, I think they had in their heart of hearts age-appropriate reading for school children. They didn't pick and choose which book was, they probably had that stack and a couple more. They just grabbed some books out of there. They gave me one that said a book with no pictures, because I'm sure that's probably an inside, had it in front of me, so that's probably an inside joke, which I love. But, so it says the word God in there. What is God? Everybody's definition in this room is something different. God can be an inspiration inside of yourself. It doesn't have to be, it's not being indoctrinated, it's not being taught, it's not being, we're based on this or we're based on that. It's about some people wanted to do something nice, and they gave us school children age appropriate books for kids to read and see and do, and I think we're overcomplicating it.
It is a great message.
I don't see anything wrong.
I feel,
It's not teaching, it's just saying.
I was one who fortunate to go and visit the classroom at the time that when the book was going to be removed and suggested the book didn't get removed. I walked into a wonderful classroom with a poster board already up there that said, "I'm so glad we were born." And I seen all the pictures of the kids there. I seen the excitement. I seen the energy was positive there. I also seen another book that was pointed out to me, which also used the word God, that was in the library, as there is many other books in the library also. And it just, to me, I mean, I don't see a problem with it. I think Andy brought up a good point. God can be a number of different things. If you have someone that's Muslim, God is Allah. If you have Buddha, you have in India many gods. We have our God. So like you said, Andy made a good point. God can be represented in many different ways. And as John made a good point too, I see no problem with it. I went to the classroom, I read the book, I talked to the teacher. The teacher even explained it to me that way. And it was a good understanding and maybe, I don't see an issue with it. And like Andy said, I think we might just be making a little more out of it than what we feel it is.
Just to be clear, you said the book was asked to be removed. The book was never asked to be removed, right?
There was,
There's
it
no
wasn't.
issue.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted the sticker taken off.
Oh, the stick, okay.
I don't care if it's at the school,
Okay.
and I would like a vote on it.
Then I take that back. I misunderstood that.
Okay. I just want to make it
Yeah.
clear, 'cause
No.
the information I got was
No.
not that the book was.
no,
meant to be removed.
I had when it came up to me, I had a conversation with Brooke about, is there a different route we should go? We did discuss it, we never pulled the book, it didn't get
Sorry.
it wasn't, didn't.
I clear that.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I'm just, so it would be okay if there was if we were dedicating a Jewish book or Islamic book or Buddhist book, Hindu book, that would be okay?
We are
Because
not,
I'm just worried that it's just
Or a
gonna open
Wiccan
us
book
up
or
to
a
like
satanic
any kind of,
or a
next year we're
political
reading a
book that
book
people
about
are
Wiccan
against.
religion to second graders, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, once you open that door and you can read any book, then
But
You're talking-
this book isn't about any religion, that's the thing. It's not about any religion.
I can see what you're saying, where you take it Christianity.
right, so you're,
Even when I taught here, and I had people say, "Did you teach Christianity in your class?" Well, yes, I did. But prior to that, where were you when I taught Buddhism, Hinduism, Confucianism, Taoism, Islam? I taught it all, and you made a great point. Is it because God is going to be mentioned? And I don't know. And like you said, we're just talking about removing the sticker.
Yeah.
But I'm proud that that they did this in the name of the school board. That's,
I respect your opinion,
and I respect yours.
and we are a board and
Yeah.
not people. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is a school board, we represent the public school system.
But we didn't do this. It was dedicated on
I
our
understand
behalf.
that, I understand that. That's why I gave my opinion, you guys are giving your opinion, but I would like a vote on whether or not we keep the sticker on the book. Is that okay?
I don't, if
You
we
know you
vote
don't
on it,
wanna do
it
it?
would show up in the next meeting as a vote.
Okay.
It wouldn't be, at this point, I felt it inappropriate to just throw it on as a vote
Okay.
until we talked about it. It might,
Well,
oh, go ahead.
no, I guess it doesn't come into play, so.
I would
And
rather, is there consensus? It's not a decision,
Right.
it's a consensus thing. I'm okay with it. I'll
Yeah.
say it first.
I'm okay with it.
I'm not okay with having something dedicated that I'm a part of that I don't approve of.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's it.
Any further? Alec?
So if it is going to be voted, will be next board meeting.
Yeah.
Or do we have a
I don't-
consensus now? It's not
I-
a,
Oh,
it's
well,
not a.
that's, I mean, if.
Yeah,
it's
if-
not a
Clearly not,
decision,
because I
it's a-
disagree, and
Huh? Well, but if four of us,
Then that's a vote, isn't it?
well.
But I don't-
It's not a vote. I don't think it's something we can vote on. I think-
We do consensus about who we should nominate to go to be on the MASB, who our vote for the MASB of directors is, right? We don't vote on that. We have a consensus, hey, does everybody like this Johnson guy? Yeah, we all like this Johnson guy. Okay, cool, well, here it goes. This is the same kind of a thing.
I don't think,
I know this is
I don't
the
think
kind
it's
of
a
thing.
vote, it's not an item that you take to vote, because I think what you guys are talking about, if I'm following right, is we're talking about your guys' opinion on something that's been given to you as a board. Now, I guess if you don't want your name attached to it, or you do want your name attached to it, that could probably be adjusted. I mean, but I don't know that anybody at this if, you know, we're sitting here with 7 people that all have an equal amount of power, you know, to me, if you were given something, if you want to put your name, attach your name to it, you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to. And I think we can adjust what the sticker says. I mean, if I have people that are, you know, and maybe, I mean, it's kind of your guys' decision on how you'd want to do that, but, you know, as far as I'm concerned, if I want my name in that book, then you should, it was given to you for that purpose, you should be able to have your name attached to it. If you don't want your name in that book, that should be something that can be done. I mean, but that's just one man's opinion. I don't have, I don't think it's an item we're voting, because I don't think anyone's questioning if it should be in the school or not. If we're starting to get into is this a book that we want to review and all this kind of stuff, that's a whole different conversation. You know, now we're talking about what our committee looks like, what our criteria looks like, and that's not, but that's not this.
Right.
This is something different, so.
And I agree on that, but also kind of a thing, sometimes it's good to put a line of what we believe in as a school, as a country, and
But
don't erase
sometimes
lines.
we have to separate our opinion, that's part of data, you separate your personal opinion from what you have to do for the school district, what's right for the school. And everything that we do can come back at us. Anyone can interpret that, it could be on Facebook in 2 hours, it could be interpreted any number of ways. So we just have to be careful of what we put our name on. She's not asking to take it out of the school. She's just saying, maybe we should remove the sticker. Anyone can read it, just maybe remove our name from the book.
Yeah, I think, I mean, in this case, if we separate the worrying about something screwy showing up versus what is a very positive message. I mean, it's a great book, I think, right, with the stories in there. I think we also have, you know, consensus-wise, I think there's more board members probably who are in support of leaving it be than is not. I think we can discuss, if we unbundle it, we can discuss down the road you know, whether we allow books to be dedicated on behalf of the board or not, right? Maybe that speaks to some of this. But to vote or not vote, maybe my last thought is, like, you know, when Janice, we talked earlier, and I remembered back to, as I was sharing my story with when we were in the COVID times, and I was kind of an outlier, right? And I own that. And I spoke my piece. I felt good. You know, I stood a little taller because I spoke my mind, and everyone looked at me sideways, and okay, all right, let's move on. And to me, this isn't a thing we vote on, I don't think.
I think Al made a good point. I think, and it may come about in the future, there may be something that comes through that one of us may not want our name associated with it. So maybe on that sticker, you know, as a happy medium there, then in dedication for the board members, and then list our names of the ones.
Well, it used to be that there was a book from each one of the elementary schools, piled in front of each board member for that, and that board member's name was inside the books. That's probably the easy answer next year.
Wasn't
There
there,
was, I think it was
wasn't there, our names
From
were.
Millside
No.
had our names on it.
Yeah, Millside did.
Some did,
Roosevelt
yeah.
Alcuin.
Yeah, but they used to all say that from
Right.
all the different ones.
feedback for next time. I think we,
Absolutely.
You
Alright.
can do consensus now, like we do the thing for the MASB board of directors, but put it to bed once and for all.
but if it's consensus,
It's not a
it's
vote.
not,
Just like when we say, who do we want to be on the, who do we want the board's vote for the MASB, executive, region person, from ours. We didn't
Mhm.
vote on that. We said, everybody like this guy? Yep, I like him, yep, I like him, yep, I like him, so on and so on.
Yeah.
That was what we did. It wasn't a vote, and it doesn't get to be a
Yeah.
vote. It was a consensus thing. This should be a consensus thing too. It's a sticker.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
so do we want to just go around the table and speak your mind and consensus?
I would suggest that.
Okay. Would you like to start?
I say it's fine.
I say
Jen?
rip it out.
Okay. I think it's fine.
I disagree.
I wish that they would have chosen another book to begin with, but I'm okay with the sticker.
I'm okay with the sticker.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Up next is the Dean Transportation Contract.
We are at, in June, end of June, we will be concluding our second 5-year contract with Dean. And so the last time when that came up, we went out for bid, got a couple bids. One of them we found to be incomplete, and then one was higher priced. And when, I've got a meeting next week with one of the deans, Dorothy and I do, and we talked to Chris Imarino from Troon to find out, do we need to go out for bid on this? And he said, no, that you don't. He said, what you want to do is find out, make sure you're getting a good price on this and that type of thing. And when I start to look at the service we've had from Dean over 10 years, and I start to look at their ability to fill routes, which is a huge concern right now. And I look at what they are price-wise and all those types of things. I'd feel good about sitting down and negotiating with them and seeing, if we don't have, as far as I'm concerned, obviously there'll be some increases because everything's gone up, but I think they've been fair with us. I think over the course of the progressions have been steady, 2% increases, that kind of stuff. I'd like to be able to sit down and start having those conversations. However, I understand, some of you may feel that we need to go out and get other prices and get other bids. I just, based on what we have in our area to provide that service, I just worry about the product that we're gonna get. And I worry about the nightmares that could come along with it. Dean's provided good on-site supervision. They kept all our drivers from Algonac when it was time to do that. I think they've been a stand-up group for a decade, and I personally, as a superintendent, wouldn't be interested in changing, but if someone has a strong feeling that we need to go out for bid, we can do that too.
I mean, being a coach for all those years, I never had a problem being,
if Chris says it's okay, then, if Troon's saying it's all right, then,
Yeah. Yeah, what you have to do is you have to go out, you have to bid a minimum of one service out, and we do that with food services through Chartwell's gets bid out. So, like I said, last time, they were very competitive amongst the three, but we had one that was an out-of-state company that bid on it and couldn't really, we couldn't find any kind of research that we did on them. We couldn't find, they weren't really in the school realm fully, and it just was, everything that they did was out of state. The other one was First Student, which is up, Port Huron, I think, uses. Canadian, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but they were higher.
And if we get a quote back from them or a bid, and we don't like it at that
Mhm.
point, we could go out, right?
Mhm.
And bid
Yeah,
it. So we're
I-
not like 100% saying,
Yeah.
we have time to.
We have time, our contract runs through June 30th. and I'm meeting with him next Tuesday.
That's only my concern, is if we get it back and it's too high, or
Yeah.
there's something we
Yeah.
don't like, or they jumped up 30% or something, I want the option to be able to go out and.
Yep, I think that makes
You
sense.
said normal's like 2%?
Well, I think it'll be higher based on kind of where we are right now, just because of fuel cost
Yeah.
and some of those types of things, but, you know, I don't expect to see something that, you know, they've got the most, and the other thing, I'll have the availability to do that. They have the most contracts in the state by far, and it's easy enough for me to go back and look at what other districts are getting charged, similar sized districts, and make sure that our increases are in line with what their increases would
I
be,
just
so.
wanna make sure that, cause sometimes if they know you're not bidding out,
Yep.
they're not as competitive, so sometimes, you know, like, if we don't do it this
Right.
time, then next time I want for sure to get bid out, because they need to know that we're gonna be looking at some point,
Yep.
and they, so they.
Yeah. And I think, you know, what I know of the deans, they have been, again, they're about as stand-up of a group of people as I've ever dealt with, and so I truly believe that they'll be fair with us, but point taken.
Are they the main player in the area?
Yeah, they're, you know, they're Lansing based, but they cover pretty much, at least South Michigan, pretty much is
Well,
the.
and then a thing about them with so many contracts all over the place, you know, they have their mechanics on site here, and provide all the parts and everything. When if there's a catastrophic thing that happens to a whole fleet of buses, like Port Huron, their whole bunch, like 3/4 of their buses were vandalized. And so, like, every mechanic from every one of their garages, from like a 2 district-wide band all the way around, all the mechanics were in Port Huron, boom, right now, getting them going.
Well,
mean, that can happen if, you know, something
Yeah.
freezes up or whatever.
Well, and just the ability to pull drivers, you know, like I said, there's districts all over the state right now that cancel routes, that cancel trips, that cancel because it's hard to find drivers right now. It's not exactly a job that people are banging down the door to do, and it's a tough job, but, you know, they're able to keep us going and, sub in when they need to, and so.
Most of the drivers are local, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
fly local, okay.
Yeah.
We do have feedback from the drivers that they're happy with things?
That they have been as far, I think
Yeah, but
sometimes they get
complaints, I
mad at
guess,
the
right?
kids,
Yeah,
but,
no,
no,
it's
I
like-
think they'd all say that they like who they work for, you know, that's always been the impression that I've got from them, so.
I had a dean employee live in my house for a while.
Yeah.
And, he moved on, Tyler moved on to LeadCom, now he's a mechanic for them. And, he has nothing but good to say about the way they treated him and the way that, about the, president of the company and stuff. They
Yeah,
really do.
they're pretty quality people.
Yeah, he really, and he would say if anything.
Mhm. It's important.
He liked working for him, he just needed to grow.
Well, when we get numbers too, I'll share them with you, but like I said, we're gonna sit down next
Okay.
week and at least start having some talks, cause it's March, it's getting there, you know, we got a few months to play with it.
So when you, we had a 5-year contract with them before, was there like an increase every year, or were we
Yes.
paying the same rate? Okay, so they did.
Yes, and it happens in food service. I mean, they're allowing us to negotiate a much higher increase this year because of the inflation, and so, I mean, we expect that it will go up, but we just don't know until we can sit down with them.
That's it.
All right, thank you. Administrative reports, Mr. Melrose?
Yep, first of all, we had our, Tech had their competition through Skills USA. We had a few of our Algonac students who are recognized, and they'll be going on to compete at states in Grand Rapids in April. We had Brendan Critson, who had first place in collision repair for refinishing. Amelia Main was first place culinary arts overall. And Abigail Posey was third place culinary arts in commercial baking. So congratulations to them. A couple weeks ago, we had the Oscars return. We hadn't done it for a couple of years because of COVID, and we finally kind of got back to it, and thought it was very successful. We raised $725 for the community blessing boxes, as well as collected 4 boxes full of canned goods. So it was nice to be able to help the community. NHS Ranger and the Chick-fil-A leadership group completed their anti-bullying presentations to grades 7 through 9 here. Last week was the 9th grade, was the last group we had to do. After break, Mr. Ranger is going to be working with Mrs. Stage to have the group present to the 5th and 6th graders at Algonquin. And then our thought going forward after this group here is that every year we're gonna have the 5th grade and the 7th grade students in the fall be presented from the leadership group. So that'll just be a yearly thing. On Friday, April 28th, the Care Bag Movement will be having its annual sew-a-thon and collection at the Algonac Lions. And then Mr. Latoz and I met with Pat Yannick last week. We were looking at the possibility of starting a tech program here in Algonac. And so we kind of talked to some ideas, and right now we're really looking at introducing a small engines repair class here in the district. And then what's nice about that is that the second year students could lead to internships in the community. Specifically, we're looking at marine mechanics for things like Colony Marina. So it's nice because it kind of can build their own here. They have some guys there that have been there for a long time, and again, they've talked about how they don't have anybody really to replace them. So this would be kind of nice to be able to provide this for our community. Not only that, we also talked about if we put this in place, not only having the official, your junior first year for tech and then your senior, but we're also talking about doing an intro class for 9/10th graders, because for those students that they kind of know that they're already going to go down that tech track to get their hands involved with that early on. And then we figured too, it not only would be nice to have that program here, but beyond training and getting these kids ready, but also if we're doing a small engine repair, if we get for the community, we have them in the spring, bring in their lawnmowers, their weed whippers and all those things and repair them for free, but just maybe the cost of the parts, that would be it. But again, something that would be nice to provide for the community. And then last but not least, we have announced the class of 23, the top 10 graduates. In alphabetical order, they are Carly Baumgartner, Charles Craycraft, Delaney Melrose, Sophia Nash, Avril Parker, Ava Pelagata, Courtney Robbins, Danielle Rowland, Ella Stevenson, and Caitlin Woods. And then we also, in April, the BWAC, they have their all-academic luncheon. And again, that's this April. And we had our 5 representatives. There'll be Sophia Nash, Ava Pelagata, Danielle Rowland, Ella Stevens, and Caitlin Woods. And then also at that luncheon, we select for Algonac, our top male and female athletes of the year. And male will be Alex Schweiger, and female will be Ella Stevenson. So congratulations on them.
Good.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Melrose, do you have a spot already for the small engine repair here?
Well, we were kind of looking at maybe Point Trumbull. They have a kind of a room that's kind of their supply area right now that we're looking at.
I know, look at David's face.
I broke it to him a little bit, but we've got a ways to go. It's not going to be in place for next year, so we'll be.
And again, I think that we're looking at, that wouldn't be next year, it would be the following year.
Okay,
we'll
so,
be looking at.
yeah.
So we do have some time to plan for that, but it's.
And they've
Yeah,
got.
so-
Did you
Yes.
see her face?
Oh,
But it is something.
That's
Yeah.
why it's a good thing we have a long time. Yeah, I saw it.
I applaud you on that. That's something so needed here.
Well, I think
Yeah,
so
that's
too. Again,
excellent.
I think that one of the things that, again, it was when they pushed college and everything, and they kind of forced out all the tech programs that were in the buildings,
Yeah.
you lose a lot of those kids, because a lot of the kids coming in, they know that that's what they want to do. They want to be hands-on and what there, so if we can get that, the earlier we can present that to those kids, I think a lot of them, it'll save them and keep them motivated and to get there,
So, question for you, Ryan, when you say this is a tech program, will there be other schools coming here to take that?
We would be, so how it would be.
a 30 or kids of Algonac, or are they gonna be all?
It would be set up, and it's, we will own the program, so it kind of will be an Algonac program. Now, could we bring in kids if there's slots? Yeah, but our kids will have, it'll be.
So it's not just gonna be like 2 Algonac kids?
No,
We're gonna
no.
displace
Our
the room and
program,
everything?
it'll be our program, and again, if we wanted to offer slots out and, be it charge a fee, or maybe they have something that they can offer some of our kids and swap out, but no, it'll be a it'll be for our kids.
Excellent.
It's rare to explain what those chainsaw noises are.
Yeah.
Mrs. Lestage?
That's great, that's great.
Step back here. Our fifth and sixth graders traveled last week to Urban Air for Muskrat All-Stars, the students who receive all A's and B's and excellent citizenship and no discipline referrals. So we had a pretty large group of them. They had fun. Our second, third, and fourth graders have been participating in books and braids, and then they brought boys into it this year, and it's spikes and stories. So we have high schoolers coming over, and kids read a book while they do their hair. Today was our last day. They made it through all kids who wanted to participate in second, third, and fourth grade. So they expanded it this year. Our Glow Dash was this past Friday. PTO, with the help of Renee Wilson, raised right around $23,000 for an online campaign for PTO. They said it is going to support busing for field trips for Millside and Algonquin, and hopefully some playground upgrades and that for the kids too. So just really successful 2 years in a row, so we're thankful for that. And right now we're really preparing for M-STEP, making sure the computers are ready to go, the labs are all set with all the instructional materials taken down. Students have had a chance to use the practice tools on the online practice tests, and just a lot of scheduling, logistics stuff going on with that too.
Thank you. Mrs. Hanners?
Well, it's reading month at Millside too, and in March we call it Magical March. Lots of growth happens at this time of year. Things start clicking in kindergarten and first grade. So lots of celebration there with reading growth, kids coming down to share their excitement and their growth. So of course DRA testing is going on right now. We have the baseball varsity kids coming tomorrow to read with kindergarten and first graders. So our boys will be coming over in uniforms with Mr. Thaler and doing some reading with the kids. No, not tomorrow, Wednesday, I'm sorry. This Wednesday is when they're coming over to do that. In April coming up, we have a few things. In PTO, we have parents bringing back the carnival, which is a big event at the elementary level. Looking at April 28th for that. April 27th and April 28th is also kindergarten roundup at Millside Elementary. So the days, the health department will be here those days. We'll be meeting with parents and students those days. We also offer Wednesday night the following week, May 3rd, for parents that can't come during the day. However, the health department will not come out at night, so we do try to encourage them to try to get in to get that screening to help them out. So that's coming up. So when hopefully next month I'll have some more solid numbers, but we're calling everybody. So if you know anybody that's going to be 5, make sure you send them my way. School improvement information will be coming up here in the next month. The district improvement plan, the school's improvement plans, waiting on the data to come out so we can take a deeper dive. So we'll get some dates to you and that coming up. Also, Wednesday, I don't know why I'm stuck with it. Wednesday we have an ELA curriculum meeting after school on Wednesday afternoon, and then there's another one in April. That's it.
Thank you. Mrs. Bozell?
March is reading month, so we have been busy reading. We've had guest readers, Mr. Latos, Mr. Fajardo, and Crystal is coming over tomorrow. The kids are loving having all the visitors. Last week we had picture day, which was a very busy couple of days. We are starting to plan for the end of the school year and also summer activities, and we are looking for employees. So if anybody knows anybody who wants to come work with some really cute kids, send them our way.
Thank you. Any board reports?
Last Tuesday, I went to St. Clair County, so we divided up all of the scholarships. So I think we had a total of 43 for St. Clair County. Algonac had 5.
Awesome.
So I didn't get all 5, but
So you're in the process of,
Yeah, we're in the
Yeah,
process of
yeah.
reading
Yeah.
and grading and getting the information back, and it's a process.
cool, awesome. Anything else? All right, Mr. Latos?
Yep, just a couple items for you. Wainwright will be coming out to discuss our next wave of Neola updates. I'm meeting with him next week. And those will be, might be able to, if we get them finalized, might be able to do a first reading in April on them, finalizing them in May. So hopefully we get those hammered out on the 28th.
Is there a lot?
It's a little more, it's a little lengthy there. There's some things in there that, gonna take a little bit of, probably a little bit more time and a little more work, so it could be a little bit of a longer update. Today Dorothy and I had a Zoom meeting with Moody's, who gives us our, credit rating, and we do this well, we haven't done it in a couple of years, I think, right?
We do it every year.
Oh, we did, okay, I couldn't remember.
But it's Standard and Poor's, and this is Moody's, so.
Yeah.
So it's quite lengthy, and
Yeah, they sent us through the, the nice thing is those meetings are a little more enjoyable to have than they were 6 years ago when they were telling us that, I can't remember what our rating was, but I don't think it was all that good. And we were at a real low fund balance, so it's a little nicer. They seem like they're in a better mood when they talk to you when things are going good too, so,
down 2 years in a row.
yeah. Yeah, but it went pretty well, and then we got a follow-up meeting next week with them where they'll actually give us our rating and explain what that means for us, so, that'll be coming too. Negotiations, with the teachers group should be, up and rolling. I'm kinda gathering some things, and we've already started talking about a couple little things like calendar and that kinda stuff. Lisa and I talked for just a couple minutes today, but, we'll probably hit the ground running on that into April, and, feel pretty good about what we're hearing from the state in terms of budget-wise, so, I mean, I'd like to go out a little bit longer to make sure that nothing crazy happens in the last couple months, but I think we have a pretty good basis of what we'll be negotiating on. And then Ryan kinda covered the tech program. After our meeting, Pat Yannick did go back, and he said he had some research to do because, there are some things that we'd have to look at, things like, what state certified programs, with the marine mechanic, he wasn't sure that there was, but said that we could probably still run that just through an automotive kind of mechanical program. And that was the idea behind the small engines getting started out and still be covered under that. So he had some little homework we had to do. We're still searching a little bit for a room, but I have an idea on one I saw when I went over to do March's reading month at Point Trumbull. I saw one in there that we might be able to use.
So, is tech gonna help fund this program, or is this all coming out of our pocket? Because I know that they probably get grants and stuff that help them get
Yeah.
equipment and all that, like, or are we gonna have to buy?
They will be able, it sounds like, and this was another thing that we had to look at, sounds like they'll be able to fund some of there's a certain pool of tech money that they would be able to fund through. Instructor-wise would be us, that we would have to do it, but some of the other things like, materials and some of the other stuff, we very well might, and it would open up another source of funding, I believe, because we'd get this, I don't know the number, I think it's 61 something money for tech kids, so that might help finance that as well, so. And that's another thing, that's why we're kind of moving a little bit slow with it, because we're gonna have to, it's a great program, but we gotta make sure that A, we have interest over here, and B, that we're gonna be able to pay for it, and it'll be something that's worth our while, so.
That's probably a requirement of that funding to have state certifications
Yeah,
tied to it.
yep,
Mhm.
so.
And if kids from other schools are coming, then tech would fund some of it?
No, it really wouldn't have much to, so the best example I could kind of give is like, so in K-PAC, they have agricultural program up there, and it's run by them, and basically what Tech's done is help them in terms of getting the certifications that they need. They've helped them in, you know, with setting the program up. They've helped them filter kids to go there. But it's a K-PAC program, so they take a couple kids from, I believe, Yale, and because they had a couple slots, but I don't think that it's anything, that's not the stream of the money, I guess what I'm saying. Now, like at a program like ours, where if we wanted to, you know, we had slots available and we were willing to take kids in, you know, our payout would be part of their FTE, part of what we get per kid, we might be able to recover from them, you know, and that's, again, stuff that you negotiate or figure out how you want that to look, and so, we still got some work to do. It's not, they're not, you know, place and plug kind of programs, you gotta put a little into it, so.
So you're thinking more of a combined small engine / marine tech program? Because in marine tech, like our program is the big, huge Mercury motors and
Yep.
stuff.
Yep.
So you're thinking like that,
Yes.
along with lawnmowers
Yep.
and
Yeah,
wagons
and that
stuff
would
like
be,
that.
so what Pat had envisioned would be a first year of the program on campus, small engine type stuff, second year out in the field with placements, and that's the other thing that they would do for us, like they would be our liaison to go and talk to the marinas and, you know, do those kind of
And
things.
if we would have placement for, say, we had 25 kids in the class, we would have placement in the area at area businesses for 25 kids a year.
That would be the hope. You know, I don't know that, well, you're, yeah, I mean,
Because
because
also,
we
I mean,
potentially
like-
could have 24 in there, yeah.
And you're also talking winter,
Yep.
so that might be another
Yeah.
consideration as well. If you're looking at like a marine tech,
Yep.
the second year, that might be limited.
Yep, and it very well might be, so, yeah, again, some things that we would have to look at. I know we've got a few that we've already heard interest from over here. Now, how many
Yeah.
kids, that's the other story, so, yeah. That's it.
All right. We have any visitors and requests?
No.
None? All right. Our first action item is a resolution for a budget amendment.
I make a motion that the Board of Education approve the resolution for budget amendment Act number 1 of 2022-23 for the general fund as presented. A complete copy of the resolution shall be attached to the original of these minutes.
Support? Moved and supported.
Dorothy, you got a little info you could share on
Yeah.
where we're at with that?
Couple little
Sure,
sentences.
yep.
This is the first amendment for the 22-23 school year. I'm asking for approval for the yellow column on this front sheet. The amended budget illustrates over $2 million in increases in revenue and expenses due to more state and federal grants. So, really, compared to the original budget, there's an overall increase in expenditures over revenue of $117,821. So really, the fund balance and the dip in fund balance is the same as the original budget, okay? And once we get closer to the end of the year, we have 3.5 months, we'll look at it again. And keep in mind that this is a budget spending 100% of the expenditures. So we're in the same shape, just asking for approval to add all those new revenue and expenditure sources. So, can answer any questions.
Can you remind us the cadence? We had an original budget that we approved at the beginning of the school year, right? Now this is A1. We will expect another revision closer to in June, right? Yep.
Along with, you're gonna approve the final amendment
Yep.
in June for this current year, and then the new year budget at the same time.
Yep.
Not the same.
Yep.
So this is preliminary, and this is just to add all the new things that came our way. And they're all targeted for specific purposes, and they're all listed individually here, for their various purposes.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, Dorothy. And then we have a single overnight trip request for the varsity baseball tournament in Midland. Would anyone like to make a motion?
that the Board of Education approve overnight trip for the varsity baseball team to travel to Midland on May 5th, 2023 for the Midland Baseball Tournament on May 5th through the 6th, 2023. The overnight stay and transportation will be provided by the parents. There will be no cost to the district for this trip.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any questions?
Wonder if Michael wears his Algonac shirt to the town of that.
He might. Have to call him and make sure he does.
All right, all those,
Check in with that.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That
Motion
passes.
to adjourn.
Support? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you.